Welcome to the Erie Music History Podcast. I'm Chip Schell, and today I have a gentleman who has, in recent years, he's played in bands like Gypsy Heart, Guru, Lake Effect, Stilleto, Blonde Faith, Division Street Machine, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but he started playing in bands in the early 70s. His name's been mentioned lots of times on lots of different previous episodes, so Scott Kuhn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dan.
It's good seeing you, and like we talked, I've known your wife for a long time, and I've been wanting to have you on here for a number of years. And like we just were talking, you've played with. You just mentioned Art Phillips. I didn't know you played with Art. I know you played with Danny McNamara. I know you played with Ed Pouton. But
yeah, that started in high school.
And that was prep.
Yeah, I went to prep. Art didn't. Mac went to prep, and Ed did not go there either, but we had a jazz band together one summer with, trumpet, trombone, sax, bass, guitar.
Yeah. Was it just like a one-off thing, or what did you guys play?
Well, we had some gigs lined up, but we never played out.
Okay.
And the band was called Nothing Yet.
Oh.
But
is that the one where I saw the picture of the guy on the toilet?
It could have been.
And you were supposed to play a gig and you never did, or something like that.
We never did.
Yeah.
But it was a great band.
Yeah.
We did Blood, Sweat, and Tears and a lot of jazz originals that we wrote.
Wow. I mean, we should point out, if people don't know, you're a keyboard player.
Right.
Play anything else?
Just keyboards.
Okay.
Piano, organ.
When did you start?
When I was 8 years old.
Oh, shit. Okay. Uh-huh.
So I've been playing for 60 years.
All right.
So if you do the math, you could figure out how old I am.
Gotcha. So you start playing when you're 8. I always hear the stories about little kids that have to do their piano lessons at 8 and they hate it. But you were a football player too, right?
Right.
So you were an athlete and
I had jock friends and musician friends.
You did? Okay.
Odd combination.
Yeah, right. And how was that? I mean, did you continue to take lessons, and where did you take lessons?
I took from a lot of private teachers between 8 and 13. And then when I was 13, I started taking from John Novello.
I was just going to say,
And I took from him until he moved to Los Angeles. And then I moved to Basil Ronzitti.
Okay, so those are big names in Erie. Yeah, I mean, so John was teaching on his own?
He first taught me at Oziki's on Parade Street.
Okay.
And then out of his home, he taught me.
Okay, all right. And for those of you who don't know, John Novello's a famous organ player, lives in Nashville now, lived in L.A. for many years, session player. I did an episode with him. He's a beast. I mean...
Oh, he's amazing.
Amazing. And that was going to be one of my questions to you is, during those early formidable years, were there other guys in town? Like I had John, I had Tim Roach on the list. I don't know if you knew Tim, or were there guys that you admired?
Tim Popotnick.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I used to live on the east side. There was a club called the Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
And Philip used to play there, and I was too young to get in, so I would sit outside the back doors and listen to those guys.
Wow. I mean, the Hullabaloo became the alternative. It was at McClelland and where the Bayfront is now.
Right.
And they had a lot of big bands there, not only local ones, but national acts.
I was probably 12 years old when I did that.
Wow.
68.
Okay, yeah. And so we talk about in high school, you're playing with these guys in jazz band, but between high school and being 8 years old, were there any little neighborhood bands or anything like that you got into? Or
there was when I was in 7th grade. I got together with a couple guys from St. James.
Okay.
Joe Passanelli, Frank Sarnecki. Played stuff like Knock on Wood, Gloria. We called the band the Undiscovered Discovery.
I love the names of these bands. Was it like a Wyco thing you played there? Or
no, we never did that. But that came probably a year later. I started playing at Wyco.
Who did you play there with?
Mac
So Danny McNamara?
And I can't remember the guitar player's name. I think Chris Rao might have played bass.
Okay.
And
it's funny.
A friend of ours went to a hardware store, bought a bunch of light switches and outlets to make up a light show for it, and floodlights and stuff. And he would sit there and
flip the switches.
That's
how you did it back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went to Radio Shack, got a strobe light, man. And I remember playing In-A-Gadda Da Vida at that time.
Wow. I mean, what were you playing? Were you playing, what type of keyboard? I mean, were you playing an organ?
I had an old custom organ.
Okay.
It had 4 10-inch speakers in the front. It was all blue sparkle padded.
Nice. And custom K-U-S-T-U-M, right?
K-U-S-T-U-M, the brand custom. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was the only organ they ever made.
And did you have a Leslie that went with it, or
no?
Okay.
No, just the speakers, and
all right.
You could plug a microphone into it.
Back then, there wasn't a PA. You just plugged into
right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny, we talk about your early days, and I obviously do as much research as I can. I came across this weird thing in 1970, November of 1970. You played an international night dinner sponsored by the Christian Family Movement at St. George School, and it said dinner music was provided by you, George Guzman, and Randy Rosato. Do you remember that?
I don't recall that at all.
Yeah, and I looked those other guys up, and they were soccer players, I think, at Prep. Maybe one guy was from Mexico, actually, and but that was the weirdest thing that I found.
Well, it's weird to me too.
Well, I mean, I did find that you were a ring bearer in a wedding in 1964.
Now,
also.
I remember playing a wedding when I was real young.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens then? You're in high school, and like you said, you formed this crazy jazz band and everything. You guys never play out, but then I know eventually you play with Danny McNamara with Crossroads, but right before that, I played. When I was in 8th, 9th grade, I played with Tom Sullivan, and he called the band the Villas, which was Sullivan spelled backward. Okay.
And it was Chris Rao, Bob Forbes, Dave Sanner played guitar.
Okay.
From Sanner Office Supply.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Tom and me.
What type of stuff?
We did Atomic Rooster, Steppenwolf, a lot of harder rock.
Yeah.
I guess. Hot Smoke and Sassafras by Bubble Puppy.
Wow.
Bubble Puppy.
Did you have a B3 ever or anything of that nature?
I did have a B3 at that point.
Okay.
I think I was in 9th grade when I got the B3.
And
it was 1955 that was reconditioned, refurbished.
Okay.
And a Leslie 147.
Oh, okay. So you had the whole setup.
Yeah, I had a clavinet.
You did? Okay.
One of those old red clavinets.
Yeah.
And I had a Roland SH-2000 synthesizer.
When? That had to be early.
It was like 10th grade.
Okay. I mean, early for a synthesizer.
It was.
Yeah. Because we're talking 71, right? 10th grade for you, right? Wow. I mean, was it, that had to be state of the art back then.
Yeah, it was. It was great. We played up at Anthony's in New York.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought we had an Anthony's here, too, in Erie.
We did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, down on 3rd Street, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's an Anthony's in Westfield, New York.
All right. Where people could drink for 18.
Right.
Yeah. So you were playing that with whom?
Navillis.
Navillis?
Yeah.
That's another band name?
That's Sullivan.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Sullivan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right. And
then came Crossroads.
So tell me about Crossroads, the type of music. That's you and Sam Servideo, right? And
Sam Servideo, Chris Rao, and Mac.
Okay.
And we played all top 40. Okay. 3 of us were 16, and Sam was 21.
Okay.
So he was our parental guardian. and I remember playing Partners Tavern. One night it was just a regular bar with us playing, and that was a Friday. And then the Saturday we came in was the first night they had live nude dancers.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And boy, our jaws dropped because we never saw anything like that before.
I think Danny might have even told that story too. Yeah, and you had to like hang out in the kitchen or something in between sets.
Unforgettable.
I bet. Holy cow!
And that went. We had that band together for years, and the Evergreens out in Edinburgh.
Yeah,
we were almost like a house band. We played so often out there.
And you're 73. You're about to graduate from high school, right? Or
right.
I mean, you're playing how often?
Oh, just about every weekend.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Playing a lot back then.
We
used to do a lot of frat parties too down in Gannon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Everybody, I always ask any keyboard player, I mean, did it suck having to, lug that B3 around, and did your bandmates hate you, or did you have roadies at the time?
Well, when you're young and strong, it's easy.
That's right.
You're just driven all the time, and you don't think about that stuff at all.
And you were a football player, so you were probably in good shape.
Yeah, I could load that thing all by myself.
You were.
I had dollies, and I'd lift one end, put it in the van, and then go around and lift the other end and slide it in. Yeah.
Was music always your passion? Was that the focus? I always ask guys like who played football,
it was.
Yeah.
I have to thank John Novella for that.
Oh yeah.
Because from 8 to 13, it was kind of a drag.
Practicing.
Going and taking lessons and just reading all the music. I wasn't doing anything creative.
Yeah.
And John brought the creative part out of me.
That's cool.
He would have me write solos like every week for my lesson, along with the technical scales and chords and things.
Wow.
He would also have me do my own thing. And that really inspired me.
Yeah.
And I had a much greater interest in the keyboard after that.
Right. Was he your last formal teacher?
Basil was.
Oh, Basil was. Right, yeah. And how long did that go? Into high school? And then you stop? Or?
Yeah, it was about the same time I graduated. Was the time I stopped taking lessons. Yeah.
Did you ever get to see John in Niacin?
I did.
Yeah?
Down at the Docksider.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Chambers.
Billy Sheehan.
Billy Chin. They were great.
I'm sure they were. Yeah.
I see John's got a band down in Nashville now.
Yeah.
He's playing at this one bar. I forget the name, like once a month.
Yeah, I just saw that. I think they just started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Niacin got back together like for a gig or something
I'm not sure
like a
about
year or
Niacin,
two ago. But it wasn't Niacin, yeah. But
because Billy's pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Of those three guys, Billy became very busy for a long time. Yeah. And Billy, of course, played in Tallis, which is another band that's nearby from Buffalo that a lot of folks mention.
I remember seeing them when I was younger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Here in town?
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to play
at the
A&E
Alternative.
Club or at the Alternative.
And up at Lou's Inn.
Lou's Inn,
That's where I saw him. Yeah.
Where was Lou's Inn?
Just a little, about a mile past that Anthony's in Westfield.
Oh, okay. All right.
About a mile down the road.
Because I hear that mentioned a lot. Yeah. Must have been right over the border.
Yes, it was.
Got it. Well, I know after Crossroads, you play in Mercy, right?
That's right. That's 75 and 76.
Yeah. And
we played at the Calabrese Club.
And Janice Sands, who was on the podcast early on, she's in Vegas and doing well down there, and
she is. She was a great singer.
Yeah, great singer, and so
she played in Holy Smoke.
Yeah.
Before that, yeah.
But you didn't play in Holy Smoke, right?
No.
But there was a Kuhn. Was it Steve Kuhn?
Steve Kuhn, yeah.
Not related.
Not related.
Okay.
But another good musician.
Yeah. And there's a Mike Kuhn in town, but totally not related. He's not even from Erie, bass player. So
I
all spelled the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is Mercy Sakes, when you got together with Ed Pouton earlier?
with Mercy Sakes.
Oh, you did. That was the first time.
Yeah.
So it's you, and then Danny's in that band at first, Danny McNamara.
Right.
I know I'm missing someone else in that band. So Dan played drums.
Don Shreves played saxophone.
Oh, okay.
And Terry Sands, Janice's husband, played bass.
That's right. Which I think is how she met him, right? Yeah. Was not from Erie originally.
Raised from Newcastle.
And that band, you're playing disco. I mean, in some instances, right?
Yeah, funk and disco, that was real popular in 75, 76. I think that's when Saturday Night Fever was out. And
so you're wearing the outfits.
Disco. Oh, we were rocking those outfits. Platform shoes.
Oh, yeah?
Big hats and matching suits.
Yeah. Yeah, back then, that's what everybody did.
And everybody looked like that in the club.
And
we played 4 nights a week there.
Where? At
Calabrese Club. We played Wednesday and Sunday. We played 10 to 2, and Friday and Saturday we played 12 to 4.
Jesus.
And they would get like 2,000 people a night on the weekends in that place.
That's unbelievable.
It was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you played some other lounges around town. Wasn't there a place in Liberty Plaza? I know you played the Banks.
I think that was called the Gaslight Lounge.
Gaslight, right.
Yeah.
I know you played the City Squire Club.
Yeah.
Banks Money, is that how you say it?
Banks Money. Yeah.
Banks Money, yeah.
Right. Yep.
And that was in a little strip plaza, right?
Yeah.
Or wasn't it? Am I thinking of the right place?
Right. Down on 9th Street, maybe?
Yes,
yeah.
Right. So was that the first band you're wearing the outfits and you're playing a lot at that point? Was that your only job?
It was.
Okay. Right.
It was my only job at that time.
And you didn't go to college, or were you in college?
I took a few courses at Mercyhurst.
Okay.
But then we went on the road with this band.
With Mercy Sakes.
Yeah. And I stopped doing college because it was like a repeat of high school anyway. And I really couldn't get into my major right away, which was music.
Right.
So that was kind of discouraging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of alone time just teaching myself.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, you guys did travel around East Coast, right?
Yeah, we did like this Holiday Inn circuit over in Brown Derbies over in Ohio. And
that was all right.
That was like 5-6 nights a week.
I mean, you're early 20s, if that, I mean, how was that as a young guy? I mean,
great.
I bet.
It was a blast.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah. People always ask probably how that lifestyle was.
And Mercy Sakes kind of turned into Sassy Class.
That's what it was called?
Yeah, after Mercy Sakes.
Sassy Class.
And Janice had moved to Vegas, and a drummer and his wife had just moved from Vegas back to Edinburgh, and they had played with the Gold Diggers.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's Dean Martin's band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jim Ankrum and Linda.
Yeah.
He was a very good drummer. And Tony Ferraro was in that band. And Steve Witkowski.
Oh, yeah. Played bass.
Player, and me. And we did those Holiday Inns.
That's, I think, Tony had told me
we
that.
also did the Riverside out in Cambridge Springs.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like a show band.
Okay,
And we had matching outfits. And Steve Kuhn actually was in that band for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Steve Borkowski was in that band. He's a guitar player.
Sure, right. Yeah. And you eventually play with Jim Ankrum again in the Heat.
In the Heat?
Yeah.
With Tom O'Cam and Bruce Bliley.
Right.
And
but that comes in 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so...
And Jim and I also played in Easy.
Yeah, so you mentioned that to me earlier. So last week I had Mark Gorzicki in here. So Easy was a giant band, so you're playing in that after Mercy Sakes?
Yeah.
Okay. But you weren't an original member of Easy.
No.
It was like later on.
No, but I was friends with them.
Okay.
But never played with them, yeah.
Right. But then you did
But there was
a bunch of gigs with them.
There was plenty of keyboard parts to learn in Southern rock. That was a whole new genre for me.
I was going to say, you went from playing disco to Southern rock.
Yeah, it was another education. Yeah, Billy Powell, he's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Is there, I mentioned a whole bunch of bands that you've been in, and you've already mentioned some, and there's been quite a variety. Is there a genre for to play?
Well, I like what I'm doing with Gypsy Heart, the classic rock. Okay. I always like that, but I'm kind of partial to R&B myself.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you've played in a number of bands with a female singer, too, I noticed.
Tower of Power was one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that.
Growing up, was there a favorite keyboard player? Was it, Rick Wakeman, or did you like the prog rock stuff, or was it?
John was my favorite keyboard player. Novella.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
But Rick Wakeman, all those guys.
Stevie Wonder.
That played keyboard. Stevie
Did you like
Wonder.
Those?
I like all the keyboard players.
Yeah. So we're jumping around a little bit, but
my favorite keyboard player is Bruce Hornsby.
No way.
Yeah.
I love him too.
I just love his style. It's so unique.
Of all the concerts I've seen, I always mention that being one of my favorites. I saw him, early on, and
I saw him up in Chautauqua.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
He handed out paper and pencil was on everyone's seat.
He did that,
and he asked for song suggestions.
Right.
And they collected them, and he made his set out of those.
Yeah.
What the people wanted to hear that were there.
Yep. Yeah, I saw him at the Syria Mosque, which is no longer, and he did the same thing. He asked everybody and to bring up, and they'd throw him up on stage there. And then I remember at one point he said, he looked at it, and he said, "Oh, well, this is a Valley Road," or whatever he had just done. He's like, "We just did this like 3 songs ago. Where were you?" And he says, "Hold on a minute." And he huddled with the band, and they came back and they did a whole different version of it, like a bluegrass version of it. And I'll never forget, like, John Molo was his drummer, and in the middle of the set, another dude would come in and switch with him in the middle of the song. And then he would run around on stage with a Nixon mask on or something. It was crazy. But it was, people don't think that Bruce Hornsby was a guy that, you're going to go and follow and stuff and watch. But he was great. He was great. Okay, so.
And after the concert, everyone was going out the front doors. I went out the back door. Here's the whole band sitting in a gazebo, and I sat and chatted with them for a half hour.
Shit. Oh, that's cool.
Very nice people, yeah.
I don't know if he played with the Dead for a while, and I don't know what he does today.
He's still touring.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so tell me the name of the band again. Classy Sassy?
Sassy Class, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Easy.
And eventually you get to the Rhythm Method in 86 or around there, right?
Right, 85 through 92.
Okay. That was a big band in town, but were there other ones? Did you not play for a little while, or?
I played with Rhythm Method till 92, and then I played with Character after that for a short period of time, Bill Miller and I.
Okay.
And
so you're back with Bill Miller playing again.
Yeah, and then I did take a break for about 10 years.
Okay, all right. Well,
and that's when I started having babies.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Raising the kids.
Yeah, Scott has a number of kids and grandkids, yeah, as we talked about earlier.
9 and counting for the grandkids.
That's awesome, man, yeah. So Rhythm Method, 86, you, Gorzicki, Steve McConnell, Keith Vasheko, Bill Miller, of course. Bruce Bennett was in the band for a while. Steve Borkowski was in the band.
Yeah, we had a revolving door of lead guitar players.
Yeah. It was a great band.
But everyone else stayed in the band the whole time.
Did you play the final day at the PI?
We did play the final day at the PI.
How was that?
It was crazy.
What do you even remember about that day? People were parked up to 6th Street.
Oh, I know.
I was there. I don't remember much, but yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, we played out back on the beach.
Yeah.
In the afternoon. It was just jam-packed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back then, was there, I mean, you've mentioned a number of places already. Was there a favorite place? I mean, the PI
we played the King's Rook,
Oh.
The Surf Club up at Bemis Point.
Yeah.
Sherlock's.
Sure.
French Quarters was kind of our home base.
Oh.
I guess we had the most fun there.
For Rhythm Method.
Yeah, for Rhythm Method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the years, though, anything, I mean, you played the Cali Club, obviously. Was there anything that really stands out that you really loved playing, a location, a venue?
Well, I like playing at the Oasis.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Now.
Now.
Yeah, now.
But back then...
you like playing at the Oasis because you live down the road.
That's
Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, the early places like Evergreens was fun.
I've always heard that. Yeah.
Riverside was a blast.
Oh, yeah?
When we played out there, we got free rooms and free golf.
Oh, really?
Plus, we played 5 nights a week.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I never would have thought of that. It
was when they first opened up. Actually, the owner of the Evergreens bought the Riverside and started running that.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. So there is that one band that we mentioned, The Heat, 89, 90, and that includes Mike Redicliffe.
Mike, he's an excellent vocalist.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been praying to get Mike on, and Mike and I have been talking.
And Dave Cathy was in that band,
right.
too.
Yeah, original guitar player for the. I mean, it was loaded. You had both Ankrams, right? Linda and Jim.
Yep.
Like you said, Tom O'Camp, great guitar player.
Yes, excellent.
And that's a lot of people. That was you played the Club Warner. They designed the Warner Theater to be kind of like a club. How was that? I didn't experience that.
It was in the front hall there.
Okay.
And had a big stage, set up lights, and it was nice.
And so they said they had cabaret tables and a dance floor, a video screen, light show. I mean, this is 89, 90.
Yeah.
I mean, there couldn't have been, what was it? Did you have to buy a ticket to get in, or?
I think they bought tickets. I don't know.
But you guys were doing what type of music? Like the R&B stuff, or?
More top 40 kind of music.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it didn't last long. I don't think the Heat did, right?
Yeah. Rhythm Method and the Heat, we tried to stay current with what was being played on the radio.
Got it. Yeah, I saw that you guys were playing, it said everything from Madonna to the Doobie Brothers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also played a place called Players pretty regularly, at least in the Heat. Mm-hmm. I think Players was the old Aunt Mary's.
Yeah, okay.
On 18th.
Right.
Am I right?
I remember playing there, yeah.
Played Stack's Parkview Pub out in Northeast, the Rook. And then eventually the Heat becomes Big Fun, which Mark Gorzicki even talked about.
Oh, yeah.
For a short period, playing at the French Quarter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what else? I mean, so you said then you take a 10-year break, and then you come back with all those bands that I talked about at the beginning, like Gypsy Heart, and you played Guru with my buddies Tim and the two Tims.
Then I came back and got in a R&B band with Larry Scott. He's a drummer.
Okay. From
Pittsburgh. And Mike Dombrowski. He's a very good guitar player. He was with Wave originally.
Right. Heard his name.
Karen Denning. Tom Denning's wife, they're with Phoenix Rising now.
Yeah.
She was the singer, and Terry Graham was the bass player.
Oh.
And we played at that blues bar that was right across from the stadium on 26th Street.
Oh, the Stadium Lounge?
Yeah, but that wasn't the name of it when it was a blues bar.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we used to play there.
What was the name of the band?
Quality Trouble.
Nice. That's a good one.
I think it's a lyric off of a Bonnie Raitt song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you were playing blues.
Blues.
Yeah. So again, another different genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot of different songs that I never played before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did your gear evolve over the years, because did it just shrink down? Were you ever one of those Wakeman type of keyboard players with tons of keyboards?
I used to have tons of keyboards.
Yeah.
I had 5 at one point.
Did you? Yeah.
With the B3 and the clavinet and the harp string ensemble and the synthesizer.
Right.
and I would set them up different ways, like in a V.
Right.
Or one on the left, one on the right.
Yeah.
All different ways. I kept the B for as long as I could move it.
Okay. Absolutely. And now you can just emulate that with...
I still have a Hammond.
You do?
Yeah, but I still have a Leslie, but it doesn't go with me. I have a thing called mini ventilators by Neo Instruments.
Okay.
It's the best sounding Leslie simulator that I've tried. And I use that with the portable Hammond.
I was going to say, it's just some small little device.
Like an effects box.
Yeah, like an effects box. Much easier to haul.
And my other keyboard is a Yamaha MX61, which weighs 10 pounds and has tons of sounds.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I use those two now.
That makes it a lot easier. Carry them in a bag, probably.
I do.
Yeah. How about over the years, favorite gig you ever played, or biggest gig maybe? Probably not the same.
Well, the PI was pretty big.
That final day, there were a lot of people there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever played like Erie Days or Festival of the Arts or things like that?
No.
No,
we never did those. They're kind of a pain.
Oh yeah.
To be honest with you.
Why is that?
Well, it's just not a lot of money and a lot of hassle getting set up, and you're never using your own system. You got to rely on people that you don't know.
Sure, right,
and
right.
They're. I would say they're more of a pain than a pleasure.
So the PI final gig, great gig, memorable gig. Any other like memorable gigs? Maybe not for being great. Maybe it was for bad. Something bad happened. You know,
a couple of those. I had a gig once in Northeast, and I dropped the Hammond beat down 2 flights of stairs.
Hopefully after the gig, not before the gig.
Yeah, it was after.
Oh, and so was it done?
Fired it up and it worked.
Oh, jeez. I mean, your kids must ask you, you know, what are some fun stories, Dad, you know, that you did or whatever. I mean, what do you tell them, you know?
Back when I was playing at the Calabrese Club, when Woody Herman played there and Buddy Rich and Maynard Ferguson, those were some memorable times.
Yeah. And you guys were you opening for them? Or?
We opened for Maynard Ferguson and Woody Herman.
Okay.
Buddy Rich, my mom took me and Mac when we were 15 years old to see him.
Wow.
There. And we literally sat 6 feet from him in little chairs, just two of us up against the wall, watching Buddy Rich.
He had to be incredible.
His left hand could do more than both hands of most drummers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so all these years you're playing in all these different bands, but as a job, you're a photographer, or what were you?
Oh, I was a network administrator at Erie's Magnetics.
Oh, okay. All right.
For 20-some years.
What does a network administrator do? Computers?
Yeah. Computer guy.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
do all kinds of different things.
And like you said, you're a man of a certain age these days, retired?
Oh, yeah.
Retired. You got nine grandchildren to keep track of.
Retired early.
All right.
And the grandkids keep us busy.
Yep. Yeah. I always see the great videos that Kathy posts of all the kids and everything. That's great. But you are playing with Gypsy Heart. You guys play
almost every week.
I was going to say, you play more than me. Yeah.
Sometimes twice a week.
Yeah. Enjoying it still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Of all those bands over the years, is there a favorite? Can you pick one? Or is that not politically correct?
I'd have to say Rhythm Method.
Rhythm Method?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, it was an exciting time. It was the
mid-'80s. Everything just clicked. We had chemistry, boy.
Yeah. I don't even know. Why did Rhythm Method?
Probably because we had been doing it for 7 years.
Yeah.
Almost every week.
Yeah. I can't remember, if Keith or what bands they went on to from there, because it was you and Keith and Steve as the core and Mark, right?
Yeah. That's about the time I took some time off from playing.
Gotcha. Okay. Because you were all about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understandable.
And we all still get together. We have safety meetings.
Safety meetings?
Yes.
That's awesome. But you still play with Bill.
Right.
Bill Miller. So a former Rhythm Method and McConnell. I see him once in a while. He came and played at our JPT.
Yeah, Steve gives me advice all the time.
Right. Got it. Yeah, I mean, are there other guys that you haven't seen in a while from some of these bands? Like, obviously, Danny lives out of town, or Mac, as you call him. Janice lives out of town. A lot of these. Sam Servideo.
I see Sam quite a bit.
Do you? Is he playing with Ava?
He's playing with Crossfire.
Oh, right. Okay. Saw that. All right. Well, what have we missed?
Not too much.
How's
my memory doing?
You're doing better than mine. Yeah. You're one of the, you're one of these guys that played in so many different bands. Like, you obviously had some that I didn't know about. You're sort of the go-to keyboard guy. I told you your former bandmate in Division Street Machine told me last night, that, they miss you. So,
yeah, that's a fun band.
Yeah. And all these bands play out a lot. So, I would encourage everybody listening, go see Gypsy Heart. Where are you playing upcoming? Because this won't come out.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, you know what? This won't even come out until the fall. So.
Oh, it won't?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Watch for Gypsy Heart somewhere.
We're Geneva on the Lake next Sunday at Yankees.
Cool.
If you're not doing anything.
All right.
2 to 6.
Yeah.
And then we've been playing the Big Bar and the Sloppy Duck.
Yeah.
And
Oliver's.
The place up on Peach, Frog.
Oh, Bullfrog. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good.
No, we haven't gotten into Oliver's yet.
No? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. If you know how to do that, let me know.
Let me know. Yeah. Well, this was great. Good. I don't know if there's anything else that I missed. You played with Stilleto for a long time, right?
I did play with Stilleto when Angie Myers,
right.
and Emily Fote,
Yeah.
Monica Lewis.
Yeah.
And I did one gig that Lindsay Vendetti was with them.
Did you take over for Al Sassman, or did he take over for you? I don't know the order.
Good question.
Yeah. I knew Al.
I don't recall myself.
That's all right. Well, I know that this was a test of your memory, and it was a test of mine for sure. So I appreciate you coming in and telling all these stories. Like I said, you've played with lots of great folks over the years, and I'd encourage everybody to go play today in Gypsy Heart. Cool?
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Erie Music History Podcast. I want to say thanks to the JPT Foundation. They have been a financial supporter of the podcast since the beginning, and they also give us a free space to have our monthly music night on the first Tuesday of the month. It always features our great house band, the Fabulous Leftovers, as well as a lot of other local bands and musicians. Sometimes it's a basic open mic after that, but it's a lot of fun. First Tuesday of the month, totally free. Any donations go to the Second Harvest Food Bank. It is BYOB. You can bring in alcohol, drinks, whatever you'd like. There's a great pizza shop next door, Pasalinquas. There's a Subway in the plaza, so check that out the first Tuesday of the month. Aside from the JPT Foundation, I want to thank Angelo Phillips, who has been a financial supporter of the podcast for the past couple months. Angelo is a great local musician who I will be happy to play with. Next year, we're going to play a few gigs together, so looking forward to that. Also, make sure that you check out Jack Stevenson's Two-Man Happy Hour podcast. Basically tells you where people are playing today, where and when, and you can check that out at the number2manhappyhour.com. Check that out. He also does a weekly podcast with our sound man for the monthly music night, Brian Waller, as well as Nat the Hat. So the three of them do a great podcast where they interview local musicians, and they again talk about who is playing where. But more importantly, they play a lot of local music on that. So check that out. That's Music Chat with Nat the Hat, and you can find that on Facebook anywhere. All right, that's all I got for you. Thanks again for listening.